Look into the mirror. If you are watching this, there is an 80% chance that the eyes staring back at you are brown. In a world obsessed with the rare genetic anomalies, the piercing blues, the glowing greens, the striking hazels, it is easy to look at brown eyes and think of them as ordinary, as just the default setting of human biology, a common trait shared by billions. But evolution does not care about what is common. Evolution only cares about what survives. Those brown eyes you see in the mirror are not a biological accident. They are not a default. They are the single most successful genetic design in the history of human evolution. They are a biological armor forged in the most brutal environments on Earth, engineered to withstand radiation, resist disease, and even process sensory information faster than any other eye color. If you have brown eyes, you are not ordinary. You are carrying an unbroken genetic code that traces directly back to the very first human beings who walked out of Africa. You carry the apex gene. Today, we are decoding the ultimate survival tool. We will reveal the hidden biological superpowers of dark melanin, expose the myth of the black eye, and explain exactly why, after hundreds of thousands of mutations and migrations, brown eyes still conquer the world. If you want to unlock the ancient secrets hidden in your DNA, hit that subscribe button. You are watching Lost Origins. The original armor. To understand the sheer power of brown eyes, we have to travel back 300,000 years, back to the cradle of humanity, the sun-scorched savannas of Africa. The first anatomically modern humans, Homo sapiens, did not have a diverse palette of eye colors. They had one, deep, dark brown. The prehistoric world was not a forgiving place. The African sun was relentless, bombarding the earth with intense, damaging ultraviolet radiation. To survive, the human body had to engineer a defense mechanism. It created melanin, a complex pigment that acts as a natural biological force field. The more melanin you have in your skin, hair, and eyes, the darker they appear. But melanin is not just a paint, it is an active shield. It physically absorbs and dissipates UV radiation before it can damage the fragile DNA inside your cells. Your eyes are incredibly vulnerable. The retina, the tissue at the back of your eye that processes light, can be permanently destroyed by too much sun exposure. To protect this vital organ, ancient human biology packed the iris, the colored part of the eye, with a massive concentration of melanin. If you have brown eyes, you are walking around with a pair of built-in microscopic sunglasses. This deep pigmentation allowed our ancestors to hunt in the blazing midday sun without going blind. It allowed them to track prey across blindingly bright deserts. The brown eye was the crucial evolutionary upgrade that allowed early humans to leave the shadows and conquer the daylight. It was the original armor. But, as modern science is now discovering, the power of this armor goes far beyond simply blocking the sun. The hidden superpowers of melanin. For a long time, scientists believed eye color was just cosmetic, but when neurologists and geneticists began to look closer at the OCA2 gene, the gene primarily responsible for melanin production in the eye, they found a series of incredible biological superpowers. If you have brown eyes, your biology is fundamentally optimized for endurance and protection. First, consider disease resistance. Because of that heavy melanin shield, People with brown eyes have a significantly lower risk of developing macular degeneration, a devastating condition that causes blindness in old age. You are also far less likely to develop eye cancers, such as intraocular melanoma, compared to those with blue or green eyes. But the advantages are not just optical, they are neurological. Melanin is not just found in the eyes and skin, it is also present deep inside the brain in the inner ear. Research has shown that melanin actually helps conduct electrical signals between neurons. Because people with dark eyes have higher systemic melanin levels, studies have revealed that they often have slightly faster reaction times in high-intensity, fast-paced physical activities. Your brain and your body communicate with microscopic, lightning-fast efficiency. Furthermore, that extra melanin in the inner ear provides a bizarre but incredible defense. People with brown eyes are statistically less susceptible to environmental hearing loss. The pigment literally protects the delicate hair cells inside your ear from damage caused by loud noises. Your brown eyes are not just a color, they are an indicator of a highly fortified, highly efficient biological machine. But if this design is so perfect, why did other eye colors ever appear? And how did brown survive the genetic war? The genetic apex predator. Around 60,000 years ago, humanity began its great migration out of Africa. They spread across the globe, entering the dark, freezing forests of Europe, the high altitudes of Asia, and eventually the frozen tundras of the Americas. As humans moved away from the equator, the environmental pressure changed. The sun was no longer a deadly enemy, it was a scarce resource. In the cloudy, low-light environments of prehistoric Europe, the heavy melanin shield was no longer strictly necessary. And so, genetic mutations began to appear. The biological dimmer switch was turned down. The blue eye mutation emerged around 10,000 years ago near the Black Sea. Green eyes and hazel eyes followed, flourishing in isolated European populations. But here is where the true dominance of the brown eye reveals itself. In the language of genetics, alleles, the variations of a gene, fight for supremacy. The genes that create blue and green eyes are recessive. They are biologically weak. If a person inherits a blue eye gene from one parent and a blue eye gene from the other, they will have blue eyes. But the gene for brown eyes is dominant. It is the genetic apex predator. If a person inherits a blue eye gene from their mother and a brown gene from their father, the brown gene will completely overpower the blue. The child will have brown eyes. The dark melanin essentially crushes the lighter mutations in the battle for biological expression. This is why, despite millennia of human migration, interbreeding, and the emergence of lighter phenotypes, 80% of the global population still retains the original eye color. The brown eye is an unyielding genetic force. It is incredibly difficult to erase from a bloodline. Once it is there, it dominates.
The illusion of black and the deep spectrum. There is a massive misconception about brown eyes that we need to sequence and correct. We often group them all into one category, but the brown eye is not a single monolith. It is the most diverse spectrum in human genetics. Depending on exactly how much melanin your OCA2 gene produces, your eyes can range from a light golden honey brown to a warm chestnut, all the way to a color so dark, so incredibly dense, that it appears to be pitch black. Let's talk about those black eyes. True black eyes do not exist in human biology. If you look closely at someone who appears to have black eyes under a bright, direct light, you will see that they are actually an extremely deep, rich, dark brown. This hyperdense pigmentation is most commonly found in populations native to East Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, and the indigenous peoples of the Americas. And once again, this is an extreme survival adaptation. For the indigenous peoples of the Americas, their ancestors had to cross the Bering Land Bridge, a blindingly white, frozen wasteland. While blue eyes let in too much light, causing snow blindness, the hyper-dense dark brown eyes absorbed the harsh reflective glare of the ice, allowing these ancient explorers to navigate the apocalypse. Even within the brown spectrum, evolution is constantly fine-tuning the amount of melanin to perfectly match the environment. It is a dynamic, living code.
The immortal gaze. We are fascinated by the rare. We write poems about blue eyes like the ocean and green eyes like emeralds, but there is a profound ancient poetry in the brown eye. If you have brown eyes, you are looking at the world through the exact same biological lens as the ancient kings of Egypt, the builders of the Great Pyramids, the fierce warriors of the Mongol Empire, and the very first humans who discovered fire. Your eyes are a biological fortress. They protect you from radiation, they guard against disease, and they carry a genetic strength that overpowers almost every other mutation it encounters. You are not ordinary. You are the product of the most rigorous, successful evolutionary testing in the history of our planet. The blue and green eyes may be beautiful variations, but the brown eye is the immortal foundation of the human race. What do you think? Did this change how you view your own eye color? Did you know about the hidden superpowers of melanin? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to understand the bizarre genetic anomaly of the remaining 20% of humanity, make sure to watch our documentary on why blue eyes predate white skin right here on the screen. I am Thomas Wynn, and this is Lost Origins. Keep exploring, because the greatest ancient mysteries are hiding right in front of your eyes.